Hello, dear students. Today we are going to discuss the topic dual nature of radiation and matter part 4. In the last class, that is in part 3 video, we have derived the derivation of Einstein's photoelectric equation. Then we have discussed relation between cutoff potential, frequency of incident photon and threshold frequency. After that, we have discussed some of the important reasons for the failure of wave theory to explain the photoelectric effect. So mainly I have given 4 important reasons. Because of those 4 important reasons, the wave theory has failed to explain the photoelectric effect. After that, we have discussed about photoelectric cell. So we have discussed the meaning of photoelectric cell. So what is that photoelectric cell means? It is a device that converts energy into electrical energy. Then we have discussed the construction and working part. After that, we have discussed some of the important applications of photoelectric cell. So all these concepts we discussed in the last class. So further concepts we'll discuss session. Now let us see what are all the concepts we are going to cover in this class. Mainly we are going to cover 3 important concepts in this class. First one is that particle nature of light. So we are going to discuss some of the important characteristic properties of photons. So that is the particle nature of light. Then we'll discuss de Broglie hypothesis. So we are going to derive a de Broglie wave equation for a material particle. So that is the de Broglie hypothesis. After that, we are going to derive the equation for Broglie wavelength of an electron. So these are the 3 concepts we are going to discuss in this class. Okay, now let us discuss particle nature of light. So that is, we are going to study some of the important properties of photons one by one. Let us see the first property. The first property gives the idea about radiation and what it contains. So when the radiation interacts with any matter, the radiation behaves as particles, and these particles are called photons. So this is the first property of photons. Now let us move towards the second property. The second property tells about speed of the photons. That is, all the photons emitted by a source of radiation, they travel through the free space with the speed of light. So this is the second property. Now let us move towards the third property. The third property, it gives a relation between energy and momentum with the intensity of incident radiation. When the intensity of incident radiation is increased, the number of photons in the radiation also increases, but the energy of each photon remains same. Therefore, the energy and momentum of photon is independent of intensity of incident radiation. So this is the third property. Now let us move towards the fourth property. So the fourth property, it gives the idea about on what factor the energy of photon depends. That is, energy of each photon that depends on the frequency of the incident radiation. That is E equals nu, where h is called Planck's constant, nu is called frequency of the incident radiation. So here, if we increase the frequency of the incident radiation, then what happens? Then energy of each photon also increases. So that we can say energy of each photon that on the frequency of the incident radiation. Now let us move towards the fifth property of photon. Here the fifth property that gives the equation of linear momentum of photon. Now the mass of each photon emitted by source of radiation, that is given by m equals h nu divided by c square. Here h is called Planck's constant, nu is called frequency of incident radiation, and c is called speed of light. So linear momentum of photon, that is given by, so here linear momentum of photon, that is the product of mass of the photon and velocity or speed of light. So we can write the linear momentum photon as P equals m into c, where m is the mass of the photon and c is the speed of light. Now let us substitute the value of m in this equation. So the linear momentum is given by P equals h nu divided by c square into c. Here in the denominator, one c term gets cancelled and the linear momentum becomes P equals h into nu divided by c. Here this equation can be written as P equals h divided by lambda. Here nu by c is nothing but 1 by lambda. So the linear momentum of photon is given by the equation P equals h by lambda. Now let us see the last property, that is photons are electric neutral. Means if photons are placed in electric and magnetic fields, they are unaffected by these fields. So photons are electrically neutral. So these are the some of the important properties of photons. Now let us solve an example based on linear momentum of photon. So now let me read out the question. The momentum of photon of electromagnetic radiation is 3.3 into 10 raised to minus 29 kg meter per second. What is the frequency and wavelength of the waves associated with it? So here they have given h value, Planck's constant they have given, that is h equals 6.6 into 10 raised to minus 34 joule second. Now let us solve the example. So here the given datas are, they are given the linear momentum of the photon, that is P equals 3.3 into 10 raised to minus 29 kg meter per second. And what they have asked? They asked to find the frequency and wavelength of the waves. So nu equals how much? Lambda equals how much? So we already know the equation of linear momentum of photon. So in the previous slide we have discussed the equation of the linear momentum, that is given by P equals h nu divided by c. Now from this equation the frequency can be written as nu equals P into c divided by h. Now let us substitute the value of each and every term. So here P is 3.3 into 10 raised to minus 29 into c value is speed of light, that is 3 into 10 raised to 8 divided by h value is 6.6 into 10 raised to minus 34. Now if we simplify, we'll get answer as 1.5 into 10 raised to 13 Hz. So this is the frequency of the waves. Now we'll find the wavelength. We already know the basic equation of frequency, that is given by nu equals c by lambda. From this equation we can write the wavelength, that is lambda equals c by nu. Let us substitute the value of c and nu. Here c value is 3 into 10 raised to 8 divided by new value. We already determined value. That is how much? 1.5 into 10 raised to 13. Now if we simplify, we'll get the answer as 2 into 10 raised to minus 5 meter. So this is the wavelength of the waves. Now let us discuss the concept de Broglie's hypothesis. So here we are going to derive the wavelength equation for material particle. Okay. According to de Broglie, a moving particle sometimes behaves as a particle and sometimes it behaves as a wave. So that a moving particle, it has dual nature. Now the question will arise when it will behave as a particle and when it will behave as a wave. So the answer is that the moving particle, it behaves as a particle when it interacts with the matter, and the same moving particle, it behaves as a wave when it propagates through the space. Now let me repeat it. The moving particle, it behaves as a particle when it interacts with the matter, and the same moving particle, it behaves like a wave when it propagates through the space, so that it has dual nature. So the wave associated with the moving particle, that is called matter wave, or we can call that one as a de Broglie wave, and the wavelength of such matter wave is called de Broglie wavelength. So according to the Planck's quantum theory, so the energy of each photon is given by E equals h nu. So let me name this one as equation number 1. So here h is called Planck's constant, nu is called frequency of the incident radiation. If the photon is considered as a particle having the mass m, then according to the Einstein's mass energy relation, the energy of photon is given by E equals m into c square. So let me name this one as equation number 2. Now from the equation 1 and 2 we can write, so here we can equate the RHS of both the equations. So the equation becomes h nu equals mc square. From this equation, m can be written as m equals h nu divided by c square. So in the previous slide, we have seen the equation of mass of the photon, that is m equals h nu by c square. Now if each photon, if it moves with the same velocity c, then momentum of photon is given by p equals mass into velocity. So that is momentum is the product of mass and velocity. Let us name this equation as equation number 3. Now let us substitute the values of mass and velocity in equation number 3. So equation 3 becomes p equals h nu divided by c square into c. Now here in the denominator, one c term gets cancels, so the equation becomes p equals h nu divided by c, and that equals h divided by c by nu. So here in place of c by nu we can write lambda. So the equation becomes h divided by lambda. Now let us write the equation for lambda. So lambda equals h divided by p. So let us name this one as equation number 4. Now if a material particle, if it is having mass m and if it is moving with the velocity v, then momentum of such material particle is p equals m into v. So equation 4 becomes, so in place of p in the equation number 4 we can write mv. So then 4 becomes lambda equals h divided by m into v. So this is the de Broglie wave equation for material particle. Now let us solve an example on de Broglie wave equation. So this question, it contains two sub questions. So first let me read out the question. What is the de Broglie wavelength associated with, first sub question is, an electron moving with the speed of 5.4 into 10 raised to 6 meter per second. And the second sub question is, a ball of mass 150 gram traveling at 30 meter per second. So here we have to find the de Broglie wavelength associated with the electron, which is traveling with the speed of 5.4 into 10 raised to 6 meter per second. And also we have to find the de Broglie wavelength associated with the ball having the mass 150 gram traveling with the speed 30 meter per second. And here the given data are Planck's constant. So they have given the value of h, that is 6.63 into 10 raised to minus 34 joule second. And also they have given the mass of the electron, that is 9.11 into 10 raised to minus 31 kg. Now let us solve the example. So first we have to find the de Broglie wavelength associated with the electron. So for the electron, mass of the electron is how much? That is 9.11 into 10 raised to minus 31 kg. That is the given. And also speed is v equals 5.4 into 10 raised to 6 meter per second. Now we have to make use of the de Broglie wave equation, that is lambda equals h divided by mv. Now let us substitute the values in this equation. So h value is 6.63 into 10 raised to minus 34 divided by m value is 9.11 into 10 raised to minus 31 into v value is 5.4 into 10 raised to 6. Now if we simplify this one, we'll get the answer as 0.135 into 10 raised to minus 9 meter. So here 10 raised to minus 9 meter means we can write that one as nanometer. So the de Broglie wavelength associated with the electron is 0.135 nanometer. Now let us find the de Broglie wavelength associated with the ball. So for a ball, the mass of the ball is 150 gram. Now let us convert the mass of the ball in terms of kg. So that can be written as 150 into 10 raised to minus 3 kg. And the speed of the ball is v equals 30 meter per second. Now again we will make use of the de Broglie wave equation, that is lambda equals h divided by mv. That equals, put the values, h value is 6.63 into 10 raised to minus 34 divided by m value is, mass of the ball is 150 into 10 raised to minus 3 into value is 30. Now if we simplify this one, we'll get the answer as 1.47 into 10 raised to minus 34 meter. So this is the de Broglie wavelength associated with the ball. Now let us derive the expression for de Broglie wavelength of an electron. Consider an electron having mass m and charge E. Now if we apply a potential difference of V volts to that electron, then electron acquires the velocity V. So that is, let V is the velocity acquired by the electron when it has accelerated from rest through a potential difference of V volts. Then kinetic energy gained by the electron is 1 by 2 mv square. Let us name this one as equation number 1. Then work done on the electron is equal to the E into V. So it is the product of charge of the electron and applied potential difference. Let us name this one as equation number 2. So here, to gain the kinetic energy, some amount of work has to be done on the electron. So the kinetic energy gained by the electron, that should be equal to the work done on the electron. So we have to combine the equation number 1 and 2. By combining equation number 1 and 2, we'll get 1 by 2 mv square equals E into V. Now let us write the equation for V square. So by rearranging the terms, we can write the equation for V square. That is V square equals 2EV divided by M. Now let us write the equation for V. V equals under the square root of 2EV divided by square root of M. Let's name this one as equation number 3. If lambda is the de Broglie wavelength associated with the electron, then now let me make use of de Broglie wave equation from the previous slide. We have derived already that is lambda equals h divided by mv. Now let us substitute the value of v from the equation 3. So the de Broglie wavelength equation can be written as lambda equals h divided by under the square root of 2 ev. So let us name this one as equation number 4. Now let us substitute the standard values in equation number 4. So the equation 4 is lambda equals h divided by under the square root of 2m ev. So here h value is 6.63 into 10 raised to minus 34 joule second, and mass of the electron is 9 into 10 raised to minus 31 kg, and charge on the electron is 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. So now if you substitute all these values in equation number 4, so after simplifying we'll get the value of lambda as lambda equals 12.27 into 10 raised to minus 10 divided by under square root of v meter. So this equation can be rewritten as lambda equals 12.27 divided by under square root of v into angstrom. So here 10 raised to minus 10 meter can be written as angstrom. So this is the expression for de Broglie wavelength of an electron. Now let us solve an example on de Broglie wavelength of an electron. So let me read out the example. Through what potential difference should an electron be accelerated so that its de Broglie wavelength becomes 0.4 angstrom? So here they have given the de Broglie wavelength of an electron, that is 0.4 angstrom, and they have asked to find the potential difference. How much potential difference should be applied to get the de Broglie wavelength as 0.4 angstrom? So let us solve the example. So here the given data are lambda value is 0.4 angstrom and V equals how much? So here we have to find the potential difference. Now let us take the de Broglie wavelength of an electron equation from the previous slide, that is lambda equals 12.27 divided by square root of V angstrom. Now let us substitute the values. So here the lambda value is 0.4, that equals 12.27 divided by square root of V. So now we can write the equation for V as square root of V equals 12.27 divided by 0.4. Now squaring on both the sides. So the equation becomes V equals 12.27 square divided by 0.4 square. So after simplifying, we'll get the potential difference value as V equals 941 volts. So this much of potential difference should be applied to get the de Broglie wavelength as 0.4 angstrom. So in the next class, we'll discuss the remaining concepts. Thanks for watching.